Alright, so today we're loading some 757. We're loading this up for my $100 Mauser. So I got this Spanish Mauser, and originally, where you see the stock was cut off, that's all the sporterization they had done. They had basically just chopped it off right there, and that was it. Guy wanted, $100 for it, so I said, it's a Mauser. Why not? Plus, I really like 7mm. I love my 8mm. One of my favorite guns is my 7mm MOA, so I just kind of figured, why not? So I picked this up, stripped the stock down, drilled and tapped it, threw the scope on it, redid the bolt handle a little bit. It's not finished, but safety still works in there. Scope mounted up pretty well. Free floated the channel, and then I extended that out. I know it's not pretty, but before I spent a lot of money on the gun, I wanted to know whether or not I needed to rebarrel it, how it was going to shoot, among a bunch of other things, So I figured I would do this so I could extend it out so I could get a proper rest off the end of the gun. It would be free floated and kind of get a better idea of whether or not I wasted $100. So I got some ammo for it. It was factory loaded 140 grain ammo, and it did alright with that. I mean, just as much as you can with about any 100-year-old gun with a factory loaded ammo. And it grouped well enough. I ain't going to say it's sub MOA. I mean, a group like that isn't too bad, Especially since it was the first time it was really taken out. So this time around, I am going to load up some of my favorite bullets, which are the 139s, the 150s, and I'll probably do some 154s, maybe some 160s later on. But for the 7mm, I really like the 139 Hornet Airlocks and the 140 Sierras and the 150s. So that is going to be the initial load, and this is what I'm loading it with. Alright, as you can see here, I have some 757 Mauser, but what you'll also see here is 270. I get to focus there. 270 Remington and Federal. Lots of 270 Federal. Now, I work at a gun shop ever since I retired, so I kind of can get certain things. And 4064 Winchester primer is not a big deal, but one of the biggest perks is having access to tons and tons and tons of brass. So, now not all of this is 270. I do have some 243 in here, but the bulk of this is all 270 from our range, once fired brass. And this is what predominantly I make my 8mm loads out of. My 757 loads are going to be made out of. I do have about 5 boxes of the 5 or 6 boxes of that Remington, but a little bit thicker brass is probably going to be better off, for what I want to do. So let's see, 6mm. There's the 140s. We'll start with the 139s. I know, I need to clean up a bit in here. Alright, so for the 139s, according to Hornady, the cull depth is going to be 3.00. From what most people I talk to, about 39 grains is what a lot of their Spanish Mausers typically like, which is under max, but again, it is a 100-year-old design, so it's something we don't really want to run at complete top end. It's not like my 8mm where the main accuracy that I get out of it is towards the higher end of the pressure scale. With the Winchester primer, I don't foresee any issues being over pressure, even with the factory brass versus the Winchester and the Federal 270 brass, the weight is not that much different, so the volume isn't that much different. But you do have to understand that when you are converting brass over for stuff like this, you need to understand the thicker the brass, the less volume. So therefore, you can reach pressure signs before you hit that max charge. So it's very important that you do a ladder test. So basically what I'm going to do this time around is I'm just going to load a couple to take it into work, shoot it at the range, see how well they do. I'm going to start about 38, 38.5, and then I'm going to go to 39. That's just a quick test just to see how the 139 shoot out of it. And for those of you who've never seen the 139 7mm, it is probably one of the better bullets out there in 7mm. I love these things for hunting. It's kind of a toss-up between these and the 140 Sierras on what is actually the better game gear out of, you know, my 7mm MOA. They basically hit like a hammer. I mean, you hit them and they just, if they do go anywhere, it's maybe one or two jumps, and I mean if they go anywhere. Typically 200-yard shot and I get like a one jump crash. That's it, if they don't just fall in their tracks. So they open up very quickly and do very well. Now, as part of my load development, I always just hand load every single one on my way out the charges, and that is 38 grains right there. Static today. So we're looking for 3 even, and that is 3 even. Basically, got to go down the whole length of the tip there. Now these are trimmed to proper case length using the lead trimmer. Very close. Not quite. Now for this test, I'm not going to sit there and crimp these. As you can see, it is a 757, but it is loaded and a 270 piece of brass. Now on my 8mm video, I had a individual telling me that this in 8mm, when he converted 30-06, was not fitting in his gun. What that is when you go to size these down, because you do have to apply a little bit of force to get the shoulders, because the shoulders used to be up here on these and now they're down here. You need to make sure your die is seated all the way down so you can bump them shoulders back proper. Okay, this is a cock on close action, so you can see the safety is already on, does not fire. And that's 270 piece of brass. So, as long as you size your brass properly, as you can see, it's still got the follower where it stops it. I didn't shave that down. But it should work just fine. And it'll make your cost of ammo go way down, because you can get 270 brass anywhere at a pretty decent price. Alright, so for my 150s that I'm going to load up today, this is the bullet I'm using. Now I bought these as a bulk pack. I bought a couple hundred of them. They were like 16 bucks a hundred, so for 7mm bullets it's pretty much dirt cheap. It's a flat base bullet, and it's supposed to be a Spitzer. Now, the thing is, I couldn't really find good load data on it. So basically, our best estimate is this is a Nosler overrun bullet that they loaded for federal, and they just sold them off in bulk. So there is my 139. Versus the 150, you'll see the Boto versus the flat base there. And the reason why I'm going to try these out with basically the same concept as the 139s is if the riflings are worn in the firearm, it gives it a long bearing surface to maintain good spin for the accuracy. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with the 139s. I'm going to load them up in half-grain increments. Now, if you look at the Sierra load data, it says to load them to, for 150 is 2.975. You look at Hornadays is again at 3.00. So when you look at that bullet, you'll notice that this shape is going to contact the lance way more than that one right there. So we're probably going to have to work up a couple different loads to kind of figure out what the cold depth absolutely has to be on this thing, because as you can see, I don't think, if I put it right at the bottom of the crimp groove, I don't think it's going to be the best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start long and then work my way back until I find a cold depth that kind of is where I want it to be. And then hopefully I can work up from there. But I basically got these just to play with and blast. I don't really intend to hunt with these, but I figured this right here for an older rifle might give me my best option for accuracy due to that long bearing surface across the side of it. Now, because those are a flat base bullet, you can see right there I did chamfer a little bit. I didn't really chamfer the other ones. Alright, so that's just below the crimp groove, and basically that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to load 5, 5, 5, 5 at the minimum charge, and I'm going to try to find out exactly what's going to be the best grouping area.